What's up, and welcome to another episode of For All Nerds. On this episode, we discuss the realities of being an Eisner Award nominated writer.
Disturbing.
And what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the For All Nerds show. It's your boy, DJ BenHaMeen, aka LeBron Shame, Meek Millhouse, Buzz Ouchia, Blark Bent, Black Goliath, YOLO Baggins here in the spaceship tonight.
Black Goliath. Yo, I know that's an old one, but Jesus Christ.
I don't know why it's so funny, but it just is black.
Not
Goliath.
just Black Goliath, but the black one.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
The black Goliath. I guess that's what it is. All right. As always, I'm joined by
Tatiana King, the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as the Little Mermaid, Trash Ketchum, Dark Chocolate Phoenix, Tatiana King, the Conqueror, Doctor Doing Something Strange for Some Change, the Book of Ashanti, Coldest Winter Soldier Ever, Doc Aki, and Tesseract Thompson.
Yeah, I'm still just sitting here thinking about black Goliath. Don't know why that is so. I guess that you're right, because it's not just the black Goliath, it's the black Goliath.
I'm like, it's the redundancy, the unnecessary bullshit, bro.
I mean, that's the part of it, is the fact that this man, because there was already a character named Goliath in the Marvel universe, when the black man got growing powers, he was like, well, there's already a Goliath, so I have to be Black Goliath. Like, that is, that is the first needs to be talked about.
Of course, I don't press record on my end, so the whole intro I don't have in Audacity. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, all good, because it'll work.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome to the show, folks. We are here. It is mid-May, I think. So, it's a bit of a slow news day, I guess. Things are happening though. Welcome back.
What you mean? Planes are falling out the sky?
What?
Nothing. What you mean? Slow news day. I mean in general.
Okay, I thought it wasn't today. Jeez.
No, not like actually, but like in general.
No, I mean, in general, it has been. I mean, there's horrible news every day right now.
Yes.
That goes without saying. So yeah, big shout out to Chris Lambert, comedian extraordinaire. We just had him on the show, talking all kind of things. We might have to have him back to really discuss.
No, for real.
Is power prestige TV? I feel like that discussion still.
It was an interesting discussion. I really like Chris, and yes, Chris, please come back to the show. We definitely need you here just for the laughs as well, if not nothing else, because you're a hilarious man. But he made me start thinking about some things with that. Mm-hmm. Like, I've never heard anybody say that, but it was pretty airtight, his argument there.
Yeah, no, and I definitely agree with him that, it's like sometimes, well, first of all, though, before we get to that, he does have a show in New York City, June 27th at Caveat. So if you're in New York City, come through. We'll probably be there for that matter. Well, I think I'll be there. I don't know, Tatiana.
Dude, I won't be in town. I'm going to be seeing Beyonce.
Oh, well.
In Houston, in your town, H-Town.
Yeah.
Going down.
No shots, Chris, but, if I had the choice.
Listen. Chris understands. Chris, it took so long to get Chris on the show. Yeah. Just to give y'all a little behind the scenes. But one of the reasons why, because we both were going to the Kendrick Lamar concert on different days. So like we had to move some stuff around. But so he understands. Yeah. He understands music. He gets it.
Yeah. So June 27th, if you're in New York City, which I will be, I'll come through the show. Mm-hmm. So you can catch me there. Yeah, I don't think I'm working that night. I think I'll be good. So yeah, June 27th at Caveat, Chris Lambert putting on the comedy. So make sure you come check that out. And then one of the things we did discuss was whether or not power is prestige TV. And Chris's argument was that we only say things are prestige TV when white people talk about them. And that was a strong argument. That part of it I could not deny. Now, whether I would still put power in that category, I don't know.
If you're gonna put power in that, I think you gotta put what Lucius Lyon in them in that.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Prestige TV for a minute.
And then that means you have to put every soap opera, because that's what I consider Power and Empire, to be soap operas.
Empire was prestige. I don't care what nobody said until it jumped the shark. But
that
it
was like,
prestige
look, my
TV.
man was throwing kids into trash cans in the first
Yes!
season. That's jumping the shark for me.
You can't tell me. No fucking no. White people, black people, everybody was watching that hoe. You can't tell me.
I was watching it.
That launched 1,000.
Mans was singing at rap battles in the first season. It was jumping the season early.
I know this is different. I know this was the movie. It's hard out here for when they trying to get this money.
Yeah, but see, they wasn't singing at the battle there. My man bust into R&B at a rap battle.
Drip, drop, drip, drippity, drop.
I forgot the joint. Yeah.
I
mean, they were in the club. You know, they were in the club.
Shit, I love Empire. Oh my God, don't get me started. Oh man.
No, but that's my thing. I love Power. Like we talked. We did not get to say because we started going to what, you know, is it prestige or not. So neither of us said which was our favorite Power. And I because he asked me that and I didn't get to answer him. I still don't know. I right now it's Raising Kanan. But
I can see that being the one. I was gonna ask.
But I love the one with Tariq with Ghost with the Tariq with the son. The original, of course.
Well, of course, but I feel like you like the timeline of not the timeline, but the era that Raising Kanan is in. So,
I mean, it's the 90s, but it ain't like the Wu-Tang show where I was like, "Yo, they getting it." You know, I mean, they getting it, but I don't know. For utter ludicrousness, I have to go with Tariq. You know what I mean? And that's what I tune in for. So like Tariq and that white boy Brandon selling, product on campus is just like this. This is what I tuned in for. So yeah, I'm going with that.
It's prestige TV. I feel like prestige TV is, and that's why I felt him when he said that about, because when white people say it, like, I don't necessarily think it has to be like the most beautifully perfect written thing. Yes. I think prestige TV is TV that gets asses in seats, asses in front of, well, not faces, but faces in front of screens, like that people are watching and talking about and are essentially obsessed with, if not for the run of it, for a good amount of time of it, at least a few seasons of it. Like, yes, for different reasons. Game of Thrones, until a certain point, was prestige TV. I mean, we're talking about that last season of the first half of Game of Thrones. When you're talking about House of Dragons,
people was watching it all the way to the end,
right? But that's prestige TV. But House of Dragons, beautifully written, prestige TV, right? And for some people, some people argue it wasn't really beautifully written. It was this and that. It wasn't a technical masterpiece. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. But at the end of the day, it was prestigious because of how many people gave a fuck. And I think, to me, that can be one of the qualifiers. So forget whether white people's watching it, how many people is watching it. Understand? Like, forget when I say white people, I'm really talking about the critics. Mm-hmm. The people who are allegedly the tastemakers on that side of the fence. You understand? Like, I don't think that what makes prestige, right? So, I don't know.
And I think your argument right there is a really good one, that it doesn't have to be the most beautifully written thing or, the most incredible production. It can just be getting asses and seats. And if we're all going, but see, then if you're going by that, you got to go see that. Okay,
it doesn't necessarily mean it's. So what are you about to say? What are you about to say?
And then it's like a lot of reality TV would then be considered prestige TV.
The golden age of Housewives with Nene back in the day was prestige reality TV. And you could put a qualifier in front of it, just like I said, reality TV. You understand? Mm-hmm. You can still do your qualifiers.
Okay,
but that was when New York, Tiffany Pollard and all that stuff. That was prestige time for reality TV.
What's the one?
It will never be like that ever again.
Flavor of Love, man.
Prestige reality.
Man, everyone watched Flavor of Love.
Now you get what I'm saying. Like, it's not necessarily high quality, but then again, you could argue that was high quality.
Quite entertaining.
For reality TV, now for what it is now, which is semi-scripted at this point.
Yeah, very scripted.
Or very scripted at this point. What's my
joint? What's Blind Love? Love is Blind. That joint's so damn scripted.
Like, most of the stuff is generally scripted now, right? Scripted. People are cast. And not to say that they were never cast before, but people are. Like, it is damn near like you're being cast for a fictional character, not you're
Motherfuckers be
being
going
cast
from
for
like
being this
different
person.
shows to one show
That's
to the next. Like it's
so I
yeah.
would argue there was a time when that was prestige TV. Yes.
And I wouldn't even say that Love is Blind to a point is still prestige TV because it's pretty big, like that joint be, moving, especially
Moving
in
units.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. With that being said, yeah, shout out to Chris Lambert and make sure y'all check him at Caveat June 27th. And yeah, and also, brother, we have to agree that Power is prestige TV. And since I didn't get the answer, then I will say final answer. It is damn, I can't remember the name of it. I always call it Tariq Show.
Tariq Show.
Ghost. I think it's Ghost. Yeah, Power Book 2, whatever. Yeah,
Ghost. Is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning prestige cinema?
Wow, what a segue. Well, it definitely got asses and seats this weekend.
Okay.
First weekend out, it was right behind Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo, I've never seen the animated. I've never seen that joint.
Lilo.
I just know Ohana means family. This nigga spitting. They got the meme of my man from Fast and Furious.
Tom Toretto.
Ohana means family. This nigga spitting.
So silly.
But yeah, so yeah, it made the money. It got my ass in the seat this weekend. I went out and saw it because unfortunately we did not get to catch a screener. So I paid dollars and went and sat down because I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan. Like I've seen pretty much most of them in theaters. I saw the first one and I've seen a lot of them in theaters. This one was a mistake.
Damn. Wait a minute. I know what to expect. I also was looking forward to the conclusion of this.
Yeah, but you have seen the last one.
Yes.
Yeah, and we know that the last one was not the quality of the Henry Cavill one. Or
it wasn't. But is this not? We just had this conversation. Is this not prestige though? Is this prestige Tom Cruise? It's not the most well written. It doesn't have the best villains. But
noting the. I know because see, this is the thing with like something like Power. I'm always entertained.
You wasn't entertained by Mission Impossible Reckoning?
No, there was three. It's a 3-hour-long movie.
Cap. You telling me in 3 hours of Tom Cruise running and going off and
there's a lot of Tom Cruise talking.
Fun? There was no Tom Cruise crash outs.
There is like 2 or 3 big action scenes. 2 of them I thought were incredible. I'll watch them over and over again.
Okay.
One of them I thought was a retread of one that we've seen before, and because of that, it does because I went and watched that one again. Another one. This takes place in the water. If you see the one where he's in the water,
Mission Impossible 35 to the third power. Yes,
yeah. So, but the shit on the planes that they've shown you in the biplane sequence that you've seen some of in the trailers, is ridiculous. It is purely some of the illest shit I've ever seen Tom do.
Okay, that's what I'm here for.
It's and it's well worth that alone to me was worth seeing in the theater. If I could have just walked in at 30 minutes before the movie ended and watched that scene, I would have been happy.
So are you saying everything else that wasn't an action scene was it worth it?
No, it is, and it's like, and what really solidified my review is after I saw it, I think Friday morning, I went back and peeped not the Henry Cavill one because I've seen that too many times. First I watched the 2 with Jeremy Renner. I'm watching those. And both of those are like action a mile a minute. When there's exposition to be done, it's moving, it keeps it going, whap, 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 action scene, stunt scene, action scene, stunt scene, movie done. This was not that. This was yappity, yappity, yappity. Oh my God, these niggas won't stop
it should have been cut down from being 3 hours?
Fuck. At least a good 30 minutes. At least a solid 30 minutes could be cut off. There's a lot of flashbacks, which are literal like flashbacks to earlier movies where they show you scenes from earlier Mission Impossible films, which also isn't good when they're like better Mission Impossible films that they're showing you scenes from. And then a lot of it is I will say like an Avengers Endgame type of thing where they're bringing back characters and moments from earlier film and tying people back to other characters, sometimes quite pointlessly to me. And I mean, there was one callback where it's like, this dude is my father. And I'm like, I didn't give a shit about you before, and I don't give a shit now that I know
about your father now.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna spoil who it was, but
don't give a damn who your daddy is.
Yeah, his daddy is somebody from the first movie, and I was like, I don't care, nigga.
Niggas forgot. Niggas weren't born on the first movie, my guy.
Yeah,
so
that's the thing. So a lot of people in the theaters who haven't seen the first movie or don't remember it are gonna be like, what? And there's a lot of there's another even more egregious callback to the first movie that takes up a lot of time.
Is the first movie the one where he does the famous drop from the ceiling?
Yes. And
that's what I remember, the drop from the ceiling.
Well, it's good you do remember that because a lot of that callback goes to that. Unbelievably so, too. You'll be stunned. I won't say
this is good. This is good for Rotten Tomatoes.
I won't say you'll be shocked and amazed. I will say you'll be stunned. You'll
be stunned, not in a good way.
Like,
So wait, like I know you because I haven't seen it yet, so I've asked you not to tell me the details.
And I ain't telling you nothing
more.
What
would you rate this?
Oof.
Not against and I'll ask for 2 ratings. One, just on its own in a vacuum in terms of a Mission Impossible film. What would you rate this? From a scale of
like in terms of like, okay, like if I'm rating
as a Mission Impossible film, rating from a scale of A to D. Like if you give me a letter grade.
So like Henry Cavill joint to me A.
Whatever.
Right?
Yeah, and within the Mission Impossible series. Yes.
Yeah. Henry Cavill joint A. Both Renner joints probably A.
Okay. What about Final Reckoning?
And one with Rest in Peace, Philip Seymour Hoffman A. Man, that was good. D.
Wow. Okay. What would you rate it?
I see my like that.
No. Be honest. Your first answer was your honest answer.
D plus. Because it's like it's right at the C minus D plus.
Because you like the action.
Yeah.
The plus is for the action.
Those 2 scenes.
Okay. What would you rate it in terms of the first half of the movie? Because the first half of the movie was the first half of whatever the first half of this was called. It's worse than the first half.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
Yes, so the first half had that fire ass car scene. I like that car scene. I can't remember what else.
So Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Damn. Okay, maybe that's it.
Is this even?
This movie both of them needed to be squashed down together into 2 hours. If someone makes a cut of that where they cut out half of the talking, about the goddamn entity over and over again. And especially in this one, there's like, I would cut out an hour and a half of it and like squash these 2 movies together. You would have a fire joint.
So you're saying that they should have just put Dead Reckoning Part 1 and this Final Reckoning together?
Yes, and cut out so much of it. And left
they probably already filmed it and then, well, they didn't.
No, they didn't. No, they went separately. Back and filmed this mess. And I read one review that really, to sum it up, that said it best. Like the Henry Cavill one was like a perfect ending. Like, he sees his ex, she's living good. He's got the new shorty.
Yeah, I remember he got the new girl.
I'm still tight about her being murdered in the last one. All right? Like,
I'm just every day, B.
No, but she, like, especially when you go back and watch the art when she's introduced, she is supposed to be the Ethan Hunt. She's supposed to be his counterpart. And she gets murdered.
For you to think that anybody besides Tom Cruise has a chance in this franchise is absolutely ludicrous. I'm sorry, BenHaMeen. I don't care who she was framed to be. She is not Tom Cruise. Therefore, she does not matter.
This is true, because they wrote Jeremy Renner out of this journey like it was no problem.
If your name ain't Tom Jason Momoa Cruise, you are getting nowhere.
Well, I'm still tight. Because Gabriel murdered her and that shit was whack. He's cornball and she should have served him.
Of course.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He had his new shorty. It was like that was a perfect ending. He finished off Cavill. It was a dope ass film, but it made so much money that they were like, we got to come back for 2 more.
I was gonna say, you got to keep the money train on.
Yeah, and that was a mistake. They should have gone into another franchise, McHugh and Tom. Because they're doing something else now together. They're doing another thing together. And they did Top Gun. Like they're doing Top Gun 3. Like they can, he could do other things. Like that was the ending that it should have been. Unfortunately, yeah. There's my review.
Okay.
Like I say, once this comes on DVD, someone's gonna make a cut where they cut out so much of this talking
all the
and
exposition.
and put it together, and it's gonna be more action, and I'm gonna be there for it.
Did you see it in IMAX?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I saw it at Alamo. Shout out to the Alamo.
The regular screen. Would you think it would have been
hell
better?
Yeah, it's work. Well, I don't know how much. I don't know how much of it they actually shot on IMAX.
They said I thought this was like an IMAX thing, just like Dead Reckoning was.
No? Yeah, it probably was. You're right. So I would say, yeah, hell yeah. Like I say, even at the Alamo, when that plane shit opens up, like there's a shot of them like dropping, and my stomach, definitely fell out of my stomach. Like I felt it. Like that plane shit was unbelievable.
Do you think watching the IMAX would have gave you a better experience?
No. Like I said, it is. You know
what would give you a great experience? You should watch it. You should watch it in 4DX. You remember? If y'all don't know what 4DX is, go to our YouTube and type in ForAllNerds 4DX.
It wouldn't be that problematic though, because there'd be so much of them just sitting around talking. You do not understand how much of this movie is talking. I swear to
God, the seats will punch you in the fucking neck even during the talking.
They would have to. It might wake my ass up because I was literally struggling.
Well,
yeah.
What are you gonna do? But okay, either way, I'm still seeing that whole like.
No, I would say if you're a Mission Impossible fan, go see it. Either way.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna come back.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna tell you whether or not I agree, disagree. In fact, we're gonna clip me saying this right now until the day that we talk about it again, and we'll see if it adds up.
It will. Because you've already seen the last one, and like I say. Like the last one had that train sequence. I didn't care about the bike.
Insane.
Yeah, I didn't care about the bike jump. That was whatever. They hyped that shit up.
He always does that shit. It's like
they
hype it because it was real life. But who cares? Like
yeah, but it was too hyped. And then it on screen it was like, oh, okay.
The train was
fire.
The train's where the money was.
And the Humvee chase through where were they at? Spain when they going up and down them stairs and shit. And he's handcuffed to her, and they had to hop in the little car.
They're driving a little Mini Cooper, whatever.
And then Mantis, my shorty Palm, is chasing after them in the Hummer, and she looking crazy. She didn't get near enough burn in this one either for me. It was Gabriel is hilarious though in this. Oh my god, that is fucking outrageously glazing the scenery.
Not glazing the scenery. How is he glazing the scenery?
Glazing it because eating it is not enough, and chewing it is not enough. That man is glazing the scenery, boy. Oh man. Speaking of glazing,
you know what this reminds me of? Like many years ago when this podcast first started, and this is my first foray into podcasting, and you and Kim Sonian and some other people were like teaching me. They're like, you can't just jump from top to top. You got to do segues. Yeah. And I'm talking to everybody listening right now. I'm just talking to y'all, just how like I just sat there and listened to these men tell me all these wild ideas and approaches about how to segue between topics, and I'm listening to them tell me something dumb and dumber as it went on. And I'm just like, I'm supposed to be listening to them niggas? Like, it was some of the advice, like the advice on his head was good, but then the examples were just bad.
Yes.
And and your segue is fine, but it just reminded me of once upon a time when segues were a lesson. So I just had that thought.
I'll probably combat you out there too, rest of you.
It made it combat. I was just like, what, Reggie? What are you talking about? You can't just jump at that. It might have been him. You can't just jump into the topic. You gotta have something clever to say.
And it's so funny. Shout out to Premium Pete because Premium still talks about it to this day. We all talk about how Reggie would just come into the show and be like, "Hey, what are we talking about tonight, fellas?" Like talk about segue. He's like,
just,
what we're talking about.
I don't know. I just remember that. Like, I just remember that very, very distinctly. But I'm sorry. Continue. Who's glazing who?
Yeah, you didn't even let me finish my segue of speaking of glazing. I was saying that I think it got mentioned a little bit last week, but not nearly enough, folks. Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze has been nominated for an Eisner Award.
Glazing yourself, pause.
I mean, the Eisners is glazing us right now.
Hey, yo!
You know what I mean? That's all I gotta say. Hey, I'll take it.
But no, the jokes aside, no. This is big news, y'all. No, for real. I want to take a second to be real serious about this because the Eisner is one of, if not the highest
No,
honor.
the
It's the
highest
highest
honor.
honor in this genre, in this medium. And for deservedly Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze to be not nominated for this. And again, Justin Prokowicz for his pencils or colors?
Colors.
For his colors. Yeah, for this. And then by virtue, BenHaMeen is there. You understand? Mellow Brown is there. Tom Mandrake is there, right?
Mr. Campbell, our letterer, is there. Shout out to David, the editor, as well. Titan Publishing, Jimi Hendrix Estate.
When one person wins, the family wins type shit. So this is huge, y'all. And like, it's kind of like being on a Super Bowl team together, right? Like even if you on the practice squad, you still get the ring.
I mean, there it is.
You still get the ring. So I just want that to be understood. Like, this is a huge honor. Just to be nominated, obviously, it's a huge honor. And to be this close to potentially winning is even like mind-blowing. And I do want you, BenHaMeen, to revel in that and understand that. And I know you understand, but I don't know if you understand. Like, I don't know if you know the depth of this, because no matter what happens, you can now say that Jimi Hendrix is an Eisner nominated graphic novel that is the first and only of its kind and probably will forever be, and only authorized version of a telling of Jimi Hendrix's life from his estate. Like, there's so many firsts and exclusives and onlys when it comes to Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze. So I want you to understand that and like absorb that detail, because I don't think you understand.
I do and I don't. It's first of all, like, thank you to the Eisners for recognizing the book. It means the world to us. Like Mello said, just the fact that Justin got nominated mean the whole book was in contention and that people were looking at it at that level. And that's one of those things that's mind blowing to me. It's one of those things that, when I wrote the book, I definitely was like, I had goals and ideas and I was like putting them into the universe. Like, I was like, we are going to get Eisner nominated. And then we did, and it's one of those things where it's like when I used to talk about being in a writer's room, and then Mello and I got into a writer's room. I said it would happen, and I felt like we did the work where it deserved to happen, but I still didn't believe it would happen, really. I didn't think about it, honestly. I remember when we started getting some other nominations, I was like, cool. So I knew the Eisners were coming up. I was more like, well, when they don't nominate me, I'm going to be like, fuck them,
I don't even know this was on your radar. I'm not saying that you would never think about it, but I don't know if it was on your radar. Like,
oh, yeah, it was.
Was it? Like,
yeah, because
you weren't gunning for an Eisner when you wrote this, or were you?
No, because all right.
That's what I mean by radar. Like,
yeah, when I wrote it, no, but this is what happened. Like, I wrote it, and then when it debuted last year, it debuted at San Diego Comic-Con, and the Eisners are at San Diego Comic-Con. So my book debuts, and then that weekend the Eisners happen. I'm like, oh, okay, the Eisners. And I knew about the Eisners, but that was my first time being there where I'm like, okay, this is it. And I'm seeing books and people I know winning, and so I'm like, wow, well, this book's really fire. I'm like, it should get noticed by these people. That's what that was in my head the whole time. Like, especially once I saw it and got it in my hands and read it. Like, even like when it was like year-end list, I was very upset when I didn't see it on someone's year-end list. I was like, well, you obviously didn't read it.
That just may be awareness. They just
that was the mentality I had, because I just knew it was that good. I'm like, yo, if you just didn't read it then, because if you read it and you did a top 50, it's got to be in the top 50. If you say top 10, I can understand it might not make it, but you got top 50 books of last year, it's in there. It's just like,
I mean, the critics are different, but a lot of people don't read 3 books, let alone 10.
No,
50,
definitely.
so.
Yeah, definitely. So it's like, it was one of those things where, because you've been here through the whole process where I knew it was good, but it wasn't until, I don't know, it's like with anything I do, it's like 6 months after I do it where I can really sit there and be like, I still have not sat down and read it cover to cover. I still have not done that. But I've opened it to pages and flipped through it and read pages. I'm like, oh, this sequence really works. These 2 pages really fucking work. Because I can read it from an outside view now, where I'm like, oh shit, I did write this, or Mello wrote this, but I can, look at it critically and not so super critically, I guess. But before I was super critical about it. Now I can just be like, oh no, this really is really good, you know. And then I've had discussions with people and talked about it with people where I'm like, where Dave told me is good. You know, I got interviewed by this woman of Monsters Pod. I think it's one of the best. Besides the interview I did with you, it's like one of the best interviews I've done and it was really weird because it was doing an interview with somebody who really did all the research. You know, they were like, "Oh, you went to Howard University. Oh, you did this. You did this. You did this," and I was like, "God
That
damn!"
knows who the fuck you are. That's on some Nardwuar shit. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it
Why
really
do you
felt like
know
some
that?
Nardwuar shit. No, it was. You know, shout out to Monster Spot because they really were like, you know, pulling shit. I'm like, how, you know, they were like, "Oh, you born in Third Ward, Houston, Texas," you know, and I'm like, "All right," you know, I mean, that's common knowledge, but still, it's like it's ill.
You're also not Michael Jackson walking around where everybody knows your life story. So
And
like
I'm
for someone to say that, it's like, okay, wait a minute.
And I'm also
Yeah.
like you know, we're used to doing the research on people. So it was really dope to see somebody do the research.
Yeah.
And then their reaction to the book. And just a lot of, you know, a lot of different reactions I've gotten to the book over the year. It's been out now. It's coming up on a year anniversary. And it's been really wild. And that's allowed me to see, no, yeah, it deserves to be in this Eisner conversation. I know you listen to the show, you watching the show, you're enjoying the show, you loving For All Nerds. So why haven't you told your friends about it? Why haven't you told your fam about it? Why haven't you told your foes about it? Let them know about ForAllNerds. And while you're at it, make sure you hit those subscribe buttons on YouTube because you're watching us right now. You're seeing our beautiful melanated faces. You're loving all of this gloriousness right now. So stop watching and lurking. Hit the subscribe button. Follow. Join the fan. We love you for it. Thank you so much for all the support. Boom.
I mean, and we got to follow up with him, but we got the book into the hands of Tony Gilroy.
Yes.
Of Michael Clay, of everything fame, but also most recently of Andor fame. So like that's another big like sphere and like getting the books in the hands of people and that you know, have a mind of or access or this or that.
Mm-hmm.
All that said, like what I'm interested to know is now that Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze is Eisner nominated, what happens next? What is the next for you? Like, do you go to San Diego Comic-Con or do you go to the event? Like, what happens now? How does your life change? Do you get $1 million? How does this work?
No, and that's something that thank you for asking that I definitely wanted to talk about because I don't understand how it looks from to the outside world, basically. And what I've been told recently is people will see you and they see Eisner nominated. Like Jimi Hendrix is a best-selling graphic novel. From what I know, I don't know the exact numbers, but I've been told it did very well.
It did well,
and it's continuing to do well. And with this Eisner nom, we're almost. I know one cover is sold out at the publishing level, and so it'll be probably going to second print finally, and it's like less than a year, which is incredible. And just a lot of things like shout out to my brother Dimitri at Anyone Comics, and he's told me, you know, like, yo, Ben, you're doing all this stuff. You need to realize like this is all major monumental milestones. But for me, one, I don't, you know, a lot of stuff I don't see. I don't know everyone who bought the book. Two, I got paid, me and Mello both got paid to write the book years ago. It was a cool little sum, but it wasn't life-changing money or anything. It was like I could pay rent for a couple months, basically. And that was that. And then I don't make anything from residuals. Like the book could sell 1,000,000 copies and I won't see anything. Anywhere you've seen me at, like as far as being in Houston, DC, Philly, San Diego, when I'm back at San Diego this year, when I was there last year, everything came out of pocket. Like I paid for all my trips everywhere, all the promotional trips. The only way I've made extra money is by like selling the book at New York Comic Con last year, where we did very well. But that was like I had to buy copies of my own book and then sit there and hustle them out.
right?
And you know, it made me a little money, a little change, but it's nothing crazy. And then the other side of it is because I'm not, you know, I am a WGA writer, etc. I don't really have agency or an agent or a management, you know, representing me right now. So everything I get is just from me meeting people, talking to people, and you know, like, yo, hey, I wrote a book and can write more. What's up? And so far, I really have nothing on my plate. As you know, like coming up, like Mello and I are working on a project. We're about to write something together, but that's just something we're gonna write and then you know sell it to someone. Hopefully, it's not like we're writing it commission like we did when we were writing Hendrix. You know, we're not under contract or anything. We're just writing something on spec.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things where I'm like looking for work now. I'm talking to editors. I'm talking to artists. I might put out something else myself, like Kickstart, and then just also fund it myself if need be. But that's the reality of it, at least, for me. And, I talked to people like Kieran Gillen, who I'm a big fan of, and he told me that it was a year between him first getting work and his second project. So, maybe I'm on that path. And, I'm just continuing to plow on, continuing to hustle this book, continue to talk about it because I'm, obviously, I mean, I'm beyond proud of it. And that's the other thing is like, it's like with a lot of things, I know we do this show, a lot of things we do in general are kind of giving back to the community. We're not making as much money as, we would like to be. And we're finding
We're not making
ways.
no money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're finding ways to expand the brand to, make real money. But
yeah,
it's like with the show, I know we do a service, and that's like the book.
yes,
I know Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze, it had a lot of ideas needed to be discussed, and I wanted out into the universe. So it was just service, just me putting that out into the universe and doing it, as a form of service. So it's not where a thing
yeah,
where it's like I would like to see more money from it. And I know that, I also need to own things, and I know I need to make things that are my own property because I don't own Purple Haze. And that's why, I'm not making the money that I want to make from it. So that's, the next big thing I will do is probably, will be my own project. But I would also like to work for other companies. So, we'll see what happens.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I was just like going on as you were talking. I was looking online at images of the cover again. I mean, I have the book right here, but
Mm.
um, I was just like, nothing looks like this, bro. Like I'm like, because I was looking at there was some Tom and Drake other books side by side, and I'm looking
Mm.
at the stuff. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then Hendrix, your eyes stop because it's like nothing looks like this. Like you could tell Tom was like feeling himself on this.
Man.
Like he was. This was like, and I know he'll mention it. I think he's even said that to you, right?
I've
Like
kept
about
the
he was just
email.
like, nah, I'm really fucking with this heavy. you
I
know?
that was definitely the first moment, where I was like,
Mm.
oh shit. It was like back in the day, me and my boys, shout out to the ruling class. It's my crew of DJs from DC. We put out this Biggie mixtape and we were working on it where we like found all these Biggie acapellas before they were readily available. And so we're like, yo, we gotta put some beats in this. We got these acapellas. We gotta do this shit now before somebody else does, right? And my man did a remix to what's the joint? Not Give Me the Loot. Things Done Changed. And when I heard this shit, I was like, oh my God, like I got chills. I'm like, oh, we really could do something here because this nigga just played me this shit that's fucking incredible. And the mixtape actually turned into, it's a really incredible mixtape, some dope ass remixes, got some traction from it, etc. But that was the same feeling when Tom emailed me at one point and he was like, hey man, I'm just been really inspired. I think we done like the first two chapters and he
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm just really inspired by what you and Mello are writing here. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, what the fuck are you talking about, Tom?
Yeah.
Like,
And for like you're writing a stories, y'all stories to touch someone like that, like to the point like I could you could tell when someone's in flow, like I said, when someone's feeling themselves and it's like the art, wherever way it manifests, whether it's music, whether it's just their create some type of creativity, it manifests different. Like when you look at his covers next to that, it don't look the same. It's a different level of I'm interested.
yeah.
I'm
I mean, well,
passionate about this.
yeah, he was a Hendrix fan his whole life. And then, like he said, I mean, he told us, we inspired him. And then Justin is another thing because, like, I even gave Justin a little grief when I first saw the colors because there was like one little detail that I wanted to be like, I wanted like this. And Mello was like, shut the fuck up, And so after that, I, profusely apologized to Justin. And we've been,
You was wrong. No,
oh,
you
yeah.
need to tell him to his face. You was
Oh,
wrong.
I've told him. And then, and I've been on record on pretty much every interview I've ever done about this book that I said that if we ever got a second print, his name needed to be on the cover along with ours. I've been said that, and I'm so happy that
Mm.
I've been on record saying that now that he's nominated because I feel it in my heart. Like colorists in general do not get enough credit. Letterers don't get enough credit. It's always on the cover of every comic. It's always the writer and the artist. Usually the penciler. Back in the day, the inker wouldn't even get credit. Now a lot of people ink themselves,
Yeah.
etc. But it used to be, writer and penciler on the cover, and that was it. and then it became writer, penciler, inker. And then like some people do like writer, like Wicked and Divine I always love because they shout out their colorists. You know, Matt Wilson is on every cover of every book. It's Gillen, Gillen, McKelvey, and Wilson. You know what I mean? And I've always loved that because he is one of the biggest contributors of how dope that book is. And Justin Perkowich is like, I mean, he's immensely responsible for how incredible Purple Haze is. So I'm so happy, one, that he got nominated and that this brings, I saw him, he immediately changed his bio. I love to see it, like he's like colorist of the Eisner nominated, Eisner nominated colorist.
And I'm sorry if you answered this already, but are you gonna be there? Like, do y'all get to go to the Source Awards together?
Again,
like, how's that work?
Again, I get a ticket to the Eisners. That's it. I have to pay for my way to San Diego.
Well, what I mean is access. Like, niggas is cheap. They're not gonna fly you. They're not gonna flew you in and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta do that.
I'm hoping they flew Justin in. They better fly my nigga in. But but no,
you never know.
I plan to be there because Mello has recently moved to Japan. He's out in Tokyo right now. Shout out to Mello.
Congratulations to you for getting the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, and making that trip and getting there safely. And he's out there living it up. So he won't be at a 10 because of that. So yeah, man, I think I might have to because like I've been saying, who else is gonna be in the audience licking shots but me? Like none of them other people are gonna be out there, blah blah, So
yeah,
we need that. The Eisners needs that. Like, when they say Justin's name, somebody got lick shots. You know what I mean? Blah, blah. More fire.
None of this ghetto shit in here.
Yeah,
why they not flying you out, man?
I am definitely licking shots. They better be glad I don't have like what's the pepper, like
the air horn, the Jamaican air horn.
I have to I'll bring an air horn up in there. They'd be mad at me.
That's why they don't invite us. That's why they don't invite us now.
Yeah,
because they not gonna know how to act. Don't bring me in there.
Yeah,
that's the last. I'm talk about loud. Talk about disruptive.
But no, that is my plan to be there in July and be at there and cheer my brother Justin Perkowich on because it's just unreal. And it'll be a year since the book came out, so I gotta walk around and stunt, talk to my all the different people.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I remember last year, and I was just reading one of his books today. Shout out to Tom King. Because last year I went up to his table. He had a table with, I can't remember the Wonder Woman artist, but they had a table together. And I was like, hey, Mr. King, nice to meet you. And, I wrote this book and Tom Mandrake is my artist. And he was like, Tom Mandrake's your artist? And I was like, yeah, no, it's fucking crazy, bro.
Whoever, honestly, again, whoever had the say on that and made that happen, you're a fucking genius about getting Mandrake.
Oh yeah, I mean that was just tight, and they'd been had him. I think they'd worked together just like they'd worked together with Mello. They'd already worked together, and they knew he was.
And then they just knew, man.
Yeah, they knew he was Hendrix, and because I've told the story when we talked about it, but he was on the book before us because this was like the second iteration of this book. Like they had something before, and it just kind of fell apart. They had another writer, and it was a different version. It wasn't like the sci-fi fantasy tale we were doing. But they were working on it, and Mandrake was working on it. They never got to the part where he started drawing, but he had done some sketches and stuff. And so when we came on, he was already ready to go and just waiting. And so, yeah. And like I've also said this too, like I talked about Justin, I could say this about Mandrake because I think I've told Mandrake this, but I've said it many a time. Like I didn't know who the fuck he was because he did a lot of books for DC, and I wasn't a big DC fan. And then he did a lot of horror stuff. So I really wasn't a man, I just wasn't into it. I'd probably seen his work at some point or another because he'd done a lot of books, but I did not know his name. When they told us, when they're like, okay, you got to the gig and Tom Mandrake's the artist, I was like, all right, cool. And then went to Google. And that's when I was like, oh my God, like this dude he's one of the greatest. He is literally, in that, like, you had to put him in that class of classical trained artists like Neil Adams, Steranko, just the original greats. He is one of them. John Byrne, anyone. Like, man, it really like it grateful as I am for a lot of these things, it does hurt me all the time that like people like Combat Jack and Dallas Penn aren't here to see it because they, are the people who like would be like,
They see
man,
it, Ben.
Drake,
I know.
yo, Ben,
Yeah, they see it,
yeah,
Ben.
I know they do. I know.
They see it for
I
sure.
know. Yeah. So thank you. Overall, all said and done, it has been the most amazing journey. And again, if anyone would like to talk to me more about, this journey, if you have a show out there, I gotta respond to somebody. They DM me, they were like, they got a small show, and I'm definitely gonna hit you back. I promise you.
Oh yeah. And
Um,
that goes for the both of us. Like if you
mhm.
want BenHaMeen and I to come on your show, together, solo, whatever, if you want
Yep.
us, if you're looking for hosts, like whatever, like anything where you're looking for our expertise or you're looking for us to be participating in something, hit us up. Doesn't mean we're gonna say yes. Just hit us up. Because if you come
I
out
will
with some
probably say
crazy
yes to
shit,
anything.
we might say yes
Yeah.
to everything, but what I'm talking about really is the crazy shit. Like,
Yeah.
well, you know what? It couldn't be too crazy because if you ask BenHaMeen to DJ at one of your strip clubs, maybe he might do it. You
Shit,
know what I'm saying? So,
that ain't even a
um,
maybe.
it ain't even a maybe. That's what I'm saying. I think it just depends
You
on,
say strip club, I'm
if
there.
we vibe with you, right? So, but yeah, like whatever it is, like reach out to us because at the end of the day, we're both in entertainment, we're both creators, we're both hosts, and we both have something to say. And if you're looking on how to reach out to us, just contact at forallnerds.com. Email us. That's how we and the team will be able to see it.
Mhm. This ain't much of a segue, but they canceled the Black Panther game.
That's what I would get yelled at for what you just did. I would get yelled at back in the day. Tatiana,
Yeah.
you got to do better. I'm not surprised.
Look,
Why are you?
I did not. This is the Black Panther game that was coming from EA Electronic Arts. I had no idea that this game even existed until it got canceled.
Well, maybe
I
that's the reason.
Yeah, I knew that there's this other joint. What is it? Marvel 1943: Rise of Hydra.
Yeah.
That's coming in 2026 allegedly. But I know they've had like some type of trailer. Oh, shout out to Mark Bernardine. He's writing on that. But yeah, that was supposed to be, taking place in 1943 and featuring Steve Rogers and T'Challa's father, battling, against the rise of Hydra.
Right. See, now it's when you told me about that, I knew about the
Actually, a
Captain
Zuri,
America.
not even
Knew about the Captain
T'Chaka.
America part, but I had no idea that
Azuri. Sorry. Yeah.
Zuri. That's why I didn't have no idea. I was like, when did Black Panther come into play in that? I knew it was about Captain America. Now, this I knew about the standalone Black Panther game, but I just knew because they are constantly, and I know this is EA, but they're
Yeah.
constantly disappointing me when it comes to anything related to Black Panther outside of Ryan Coogler. It's like, does Ryan gotta handle it? We may not fucking see it. I just don't trust these people at all. Do you?
Not especially.
And then there was like mad layoffs, like wave after wave of layoffs for the last like 2-3 years at EA. So I'm just like, what they're gonna fucking cut. The blacks. Anything. I'm just saying, whatever. I wasn't surprised. I just gotta say that.
I mean, EA still makes Madden, right? And all that's where their real money is, like
They
Madden every
still
year.
make the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where their money is. They ain't worried about this shit. And like it's not Insomnia who has the Spider-Man franchise, which has been fire, and they're about to drop the Wolverine joint. I think that's next year still though. But that, is like the one I was looking forward to because they did such a fantastic job with the Spider-Man joints that I was like anything. And I
Mm.
just read something recently where I remember because I'd forgotten about it, but they were talking about how at one point they were actually gonna have a whole like MCU type, universe, and that's not happening. So best we getting is Spider-Man and Wolverine, it seems right now.
Damn.
And
And
then I mean that Guardians of the Galaxy, they've had a bunch of dope games. It's just like we haven't had a whole like a universe, where it's like other than Marvel Rivals is probably it.
I was gonna say Marvel was like, if you
Yeah.
wanted to see your peoples, go there to that
Yeah, if you
game.
want to see,
Everybody's there.
yeah, because and they're adding a character a month, they say now. So
Yeah, like and I don't know, maybe that's what it is. Also, they're just like, I mean, even though that's a different studio, we're just gonna put everybody over there.
yeah, I mean it's like, yeah, I don't know how these licenses work where Marvel Rivals gets to use everyone and the Spider-Man game would just have the Avengers Tower and no Avengers. Like, I don't know.
Well, remember, Spider-Man, Sony still owns the video game, the
Yeah,
gaming rights.
yeah. So that
So
was
they don't have
Sony.
access to everything technically. Like now they could do
Ah,
side deals with Disney
yeah.
slash,
Yeah, that's what that was.
Marvel, but it's
Well,
still Spider-Man's still Sony.
well, it's working out for Marvel Rivals because we talked about it before on the show. I was ass, and now I'm pretty nice. I actually got up to gold level in the competitive this season.
Good for you.
Yeah, I was trying to
Congratulations.
go further, but then I was scared of losing my gold rank, and it's about to be over. So I was like, "Nah, I'm just stop right here and get this little gold and be good." And then next season I'll go for platinum. But yeah, no, Marvel Rivals is lit, yo. It's like you get all the characters, all the interactions, you got all this lore. I love it. Costumes galore. That shit's fire. So
Mhm.
shout out to Black Panther, but sorry about that, bro. You rocking the Marvel Rivals at least.
I'm gonna need to watch, or if you stream when you play, I'm gonna need to watch because I think the best, most entertaining, funniest people that game are Black people. Like
I'm so
when
boring when
at
I'm gaming though. That's why I don't
well,
stream a
maybe
lot.
if you talk,
Yeah,
because
because I don't.
Black people are the funniest. Like there's this guy I watch on TikTok. He is Jamaican and like he's usually doing the VR stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like he has like this one that came up today where like he's playing this game where it's just like you're figuring out whether like you're in like the post-apocalyptic zombie times, right? And you're trying to determine whether or not people who are coming into the quarantine zone, whether they're infected or not, and whether they should be sent for like quarantine, whether they should be allowed in or whether they get liquidated.
Mm.
And he be like going off on these NPCs because there's NPCs, let me tell you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the funniest fucking thing. And I'm like, non-black people cannot do this. Not in this
No.
way. Not like a Jamaican being a guard. Like imagine that was
Yeah.
real life. A Jamaican being a guard, letting you know whether or not you could come in on some like Walking Dead meets Jamaica shit. Bombaglad. Like no way, no way. Like black people are the funniest fucking thing.
Yeah,
They
no.
really are.
I'm better on the show. I don't know. I keep saying I'm a stream. I finally got my DJ set up where it's right where it's like perfect for streaming, and I'm still just like,
Mhm. You
one
know
day.
who's also funny? Sorry, and this has nothing to do with Jamaicans. Luna. Luna, our own
Yes.
very own Luna, who he streams his VR games. Him and his friends doing all this foolishness in them games is the funniest fucking thing. And I think that's part of it. It's like not caring, like
Mm-hmm.
just talking, shooting the shit, just saying whatever the fuck, and just not caring how it sounds or looks. And that's why it is that much funnier. And maybe that's why you said you feel like you're boring, but I don't know if you're thinking about, oh, I shouldn't say that while you're gaming, or I don't know, but
Yeah, it's probably a lot of that. It's like, yeah, it's like the self-consciousness of it.
mm,
And then it's like I'm I'm just usually overthinking it is what it is. And I guess I'll just have to start streaming some Marvel Rivals because I'm actually good and I'll be whooping motherfuckers ass. Like
look at that.
I caught like 50 bodies one time.
I
Yeah.
would like to start, like, I want to be like a Paul Heyman and start like booking people against you on matches, like real life people, and like setting matches and shit. No, dead ass. Like, I
Ah.
think I would be good at it.
Well, if anyone out there, if any listeners, I have added a couple people. Like people will hit me up and they add me and then they'll never like say anything again. So I don't know if you're actually a listener of the show or just somebody I was playing against. But anyway, my PlayStation gamer tag is DJ BenHaMeen, and for now it's DJ BenHaMeen on Marvel Rivals as well. I'm about to change that though to nothing but bodies. But yeah, right now it's DJ BenHaMeen. So add me on PlayStation or whatever, and I will rock with you on Marvel Rivals. But send me a message because, like I
Well, you
said,
gotta go
people.
through me first. I'm now your manager. Listen, at me, Tatiana King. Hit me up if you want to get booked, and then we'll talk about it, okay? And I set you up. I'll see what you about, and I'll set up the matches, okay? Because first of all, like I said, I think I would be damn good at this, and I think I would get you what you need to be able to become a champion. I'm serious. I'm
well,
serious. But
well,
y'all
that's
gotta go
another
through me. Sorry.
another thing we got to do is this summer at some point we had to have some type of video game tournament in person at Anyone Comments in Brooklyn because Dimitri's been trying to set it up. We've got an
You gonna
N60.
put a nice TV in there?
Yeah, he actually got the nice TV in there now. We got the N64, so we can rock some old school GoldenEye, Mario Kart, Bomberman, or we can bring in the PS, and I'll whoop you in person. So either way, we got to figure it out.
Well, let's talk. Let's do a game that I can whip you in person. So we gotta go do another ForAllNerds game
Mario
night
Kart?
soon. Probably, but ForAllNerds game night soon. Either that or Smash Brothers or some shit. But we gotta do
Yeah.
another game night soon together. Whether it's like a board game or it's like just another online like multiplayer type game, like multi-screen multiplayer game. We got to do that.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's coming up for sure.
Anything else before we get out of here?
Just to remind people, just love each other. Be positive. All you got is each other, especially in the world we're in right now, especially if you live in a certain country these days where their mascot is an eagle. I just implore you to please be careful and just trust yourself, trust your family. Don't worry about nothing else. That's all I got to say.
Empathy. Empathy is something people need more of.
Absolutely.
I was going to talk about this earlier. One of my brothers sent me a video earlier this week. It was weird. I had to actually ask him about it because it was some dude who I guess has some followers on Instagram, and he was talking. I don't know. He was an auditorium talking to an audience, and basically, from what I gleaned from the video was that the man was asking him a question, and somehow the answer was that you need less spirit of women in you.
What?
The spirit of women was infecting men, and
What?
because men are gentle creatures and women are conniving and stuff. And it honestly disturbed me that my friend had sent me this. I was like, yo, bro, what's up? And I asked him today because it had been on my mind since he sent me. And so today I explained to him, I was like, fam, I really think that's, one, I don't listen to white men in general, and I don't listen to no chin having white men, especially. Like, if you have no chin, I'm sorry for you, but I can't, no. Like, you usually have weird takes. No shots, Some of y'all with no chin are probably good people, but you know who I'm talking about. And so, yeah, it was just very disturbing to me because it's like, the spirit of women and men are gentle creatures. Like, in what fucking world? And one of my biggest problems with the world today is that I feel like we don't recognize women as human beings. So I was just really disturbed by this video, and I was like, man, what's going on? Are you good, bro? So I'm waiting on an answer. He still doesn't answer me, but I'm just like really like, yo, what's
He's
going
not
on?
good.
No, he's
100% not good.
No, he's not. And I think that a lot of men are not good. And a lot of time I've been like, well, oh well, to them. But I do see the damage they inflict and shit. Oh damn. Once again, shout out to Chris Lambert because after we recorded that episode, I did go watch Magazine Dreams. Really quick. I think Mr. Majors, Jonathan Majors, is incredible in the role. And like Chris says, we don't get to see Black people do this type of role that often. And I do think the film was trying to speak to the idea of male loneliness and,
the toxic.
Yeah.
Or being pushed into that toxic space.
Yes.
Okay.
I just felt like Jonathan Majors' character also had some other trauma. Like, he has major trauma that is more like infecting him or doing the damage than like the male loneliness part of it, So I felt like it's like he's not a case study because it's like, Batman ain't a case study for male loneliness. You know what I mean? Just like it's too extreme, But that being said, I thought Major's performance was incredible. The movie is not what I'm looking for, but I thought he's incredible and definitely deserves to be, mentioned at the very least when all the nominations for anything go out this year because he eats it alive. He's a disturbed man and he is, playing it.
Well, you know what? Let me not say what I was gonna say. Continue.
You
alley-ooped it and I know almost dunked it.
And you took the words out of my mouth too. It was like I really wasn't even alley-ooping and I was like, and then I was like the shot went up and you were just like, well, I'll just, help it in, I thought it was passed to me, I was actually shooting for the hoop, but you're just like, let me just help it go in. As soon as I said it out my mouth, I was like, ah.
Hey, what's up, internets and the fan fam? This is Tatiana King for ForAllNerds, and I want to thank you so much for listening and watching the ForAllNerds. Make sure you like and subscribe to us only on YouTube.
For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.